Alright, what's up YouTube? So it's been a while since I made another video. Today I got something really good for you guys. We are going to be doing a 3.8 Genesis Coupe timing chain replacement. So this is going to be for all 3.8 Genesis Coupes. It's pretty much the same process for all years. So the first thing we're going to end up doing is we need to get the intake manifold off. So we're going to go ahead and take out the intake. And then from there we'll take off the hoses onto the intake, the throttle body and everything. I'll show you guys how to do that from A to Z. So taking off the intake's pretty easy. You just have a clamp up here, and then you're gonna have this sensor right here. Next thing we are going to do, we are gonna go ahead and disconnect our throttle body right here. The connector, that'll come off. Then you have this sensor right here. Now we have this guy removed. What we're gonna be doing now is taking out these vacuum hoses right here. So this one and this guy back here. Taking out those vacuum hoses, taking out this 10 mil right here, and taking off this 10 mil right here as well. As you can see, the vacuum port's off, this is taken off, that's taken off, and this back one's taken off. Now we're gonna come down here to the coolant port, and this guy actually has the coolant bypass mod done. So usually all you have to do here is just disconnect your coolant hose right here and right here. That's it. So from over here now to the final step, taking off this intake manifold. You're gonna have a 10 mil here, and this will take off the wire harness. And then as you can see, there are bolts right here, under there, right here, this one and this one. So once you get all those bolts taken off, the intake manifold will come straight up. Alrighty, and just like that, your intake manifold is now removed. Oh, and a quick tip before I continue this video. So whenever you're taking out bolts, make sure you put them back in the place that you put them out from. So like these bolts, the 10 mils, I put them back where they're supposed to go. These, I just left them in there. Same with the 13s over here. This 10 mil, the intake. Anytime you pull bolts out, guys, put them back where you got them out from. It's way more easier to figure out where they went if you do that. The next thing we're going to be doing is taking off pretty much any kind of sensor on the valve cover. So like right here, your OCV sensor. Back here is your cam sensor for the intake valve. And then on the opposite side, you have another cam sensor, which is under here, under all this crap right here. That's for your exhaust cam sensor. Over here, there's a harness right here. You're gonna take that off. And then there's also another 10 mil right here that holds this harness in place. 10 mil. And then you're gonna wanna unplug your spark plug harnesses. And the way how you do that is press up on this guy. The black clip, as you can see from this one, this black clip actually pulls up. And then once you have that black clip pulled up, then you can squeeze this part and take off the actual pigtail, just like that. So you can do that to all three of them. Take off all the sensors and get this harness out of the way. All the connectors are disconnected, as you can see. So what we're gonna do here now is take off this hose right here in the back. This is your PCV hose for this side of the valve cover. On top of that, we are going to take off all these 10 millimeter bolts that are holding it in. So you have one right here, they're all over the valve cover. Okay, so make sure you remove all those valve cover bolts, even the internal ones right here. Make sure you remove all those valve cover bolts. Okay, once you have all the valve cover bolts off, then you'll be able to take the valve cover off. All right guys, and just like that, everything's taken off the valve cover, so it is ready to come up. So all you have to do is pry it up a little bit on each side. Get this harness out of the way real quick. It'll come up just like that. Now we're gonna go pretty much do the same thing on the exact opposite side. There are a few more things to take off, but I'll show you. I'll pretty much walk you guys through the process still. It's not that hard at all. Also, a quick note, if you guys ever want to replace your OCV solenoid for the exhaust side, it's gonna be this guy right here. This is usually what causes a P0014 code, a stretched timing chain, or a bad cam phasers. Cam phasers has CVVT integrated into them, so if one of them is messed up or gunked up inside, they'll throw a code for P0014 or P0017. So just a heads up. Alright, so for the first thing we are going to be doing on the right side of the valve cover is we are pretty much going to do loosen up all these connectors over here, take them off, the front and the back side, and then we're going to also take off the spark plugs connectors, and then we're also going to take off this PCV valve as well as this hose. Now we have all the sensors pretty much loose and ready to come out. We are going to take off this hose right here, this guy right here. This is a coolant hose, so basically we're just gonna take this off, pull it out, and then we're gonna pull it this way and pretty much push it up. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about right now. Alright guys, so we got this hose now taken off, put that to the side. So what we're gonna do now is take off this fuel hose. So what we're gonna do for that is there's a 10mm bolt that I already took off that's back here. You're gonna remove that 10mm bolt, and then you're gonna come over here and you're gonna get an adjustable wrench and take this off. Okay, now I already did that, so but in the process of doing this, make sure you get like a rag and cover it too. That way the fuel doesn't splash at you because it's still pressurized. Once you have it out like this, you just pull it out like that. So once you have this guy taken off, you're gonna go ahead and come right here where these two 10 mils are at. I already taken it off, but they would be up here on the high pressure fuel pump. And take off these two 10 mils, and once you do that, you'll be able to push it to the side just like this. So now that that's done, we're ready to pretty much take off the valve cover bolts and get the valve cover out. So you got bolt right here, right there, there. Pretty much the same process as the other side, all around here. And then don't forget your the centerpiece ones as well. So we're gonna take that off, and then we're gonna get the valve cover out. Alright guys, so while attempting to remove this, I've noticed I still have some stuff preventing me from taking off the valve cover. So what I did was I took off this hose completely. Right over here, there is a bracket for the coolant pipe right there. That's going to be a 12mm. I took that off as well, so this can have a little extra wiggle room. Also be careful because coolant is right there. And over here, you're going to also need to take off this guy or loosen it so you can rotate it this way. Because if you're trying to pull up on the valve cover, it's going to hit this mount right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and the valve cover should come up right after that. Another thing that I did was this fuel line right here was I got to bend it up just a little bit, not too much, just enough to where it will clear. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that guy up real quick, and then hopefully I'll be able to get it out. Both of the valve covers are off now. Now what we're going to be doing pretty much is taking out the radiator fan, the coolant reservoir. We got the coolant reservoir out. Now we're going to go ahead and hit that 10mm right here, and there's another one on this side. Hit those two 10mm, and then we're going to pull this radiator fan out. And also don't forget to disconnect it right here. There's a clip for it, so make sure you disconnect it from right here as well. Alright guys, so we have the radiator fan removed now. So what we're going to do next is take off the belt. The way I take it off, there is a 19mm bolt right there. So you just gonna grab the 19mm bolt, turn it this way, and that's going to release tension on the belt. So we're going to slide it off the water pump pulley up here, just like that. And let go of it. Right now we can take off the belt. Alright, now that we have the belt off, we're going to take off this water pulley bump right here. These are all 10mm, not that hard at all to take off. If you have a problem with it spinning, just hold it in place with something and then take off, break the 10mm loose. Alright guys, so that pulley bolt right there is a 14mm, and then down here the tensioner one's going to be a 17mm. So we're just going to take those off real quick, and then we'll hit the crank pulley. So it looks like that tensioner pulley also had an extra bolt right here that's also connected to it. So this is going to be a 12mm. Once you have that taken off, the whole tensioner will come off. Now we're going to go ahead and do the crank pulley bolt, and the way how I do it is I get some vice grips, I angle them like this, I'll get my breaker bar, and pretty much this guy, and break it loose. It's really not that hard. Just make sure you don't crimp on that crank pulley too hard, because I have seen it actually crack before. Some people do it like that. Once you have it on there and break it loose, it comes off easy. Just like that. So I'll go ahead and continue taking this off real quick, and then we'll go on to taking off the timing cover. All right guys, so what we're gonna be doing now is pretty much taking off all the timing cover bolts. So that's everything that's on here bolt wise, like here. I'm also taking out these guys. I don't know, I'm pretty sure that these need to come off for the timing cover to come off. Basically all these timing cover bolts need to come off in order for this cover to be pulled off. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off all these bolts. Make sure you note exactly where these bolts go back to, and try your best not to mix them up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Also, don't forget about the bolts down here. You're gonna need to take off a total of 6. So when I get to that part, I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys which ones to take off. Oh, and before you even start, make sure you have your coolant drain and your oil drain, okay? Because you're gonna have a lot of coolant and oil come out, because that's for your water pump. So coolant will come out through there, and oil is to be, of course, coming out once the timing cover comes off. So make sure you drain both of them before you start this step. Alright guys, so I had to do 2 extra steps real quick. So the first thing was I had to come down here and then loosen this bolt, and then loosen this bolt up top. And what that did is it gave me enough room to push down on the pulley and then hit this 12 millimeters. So you don't have to take this off all the way, just loosen the bolts. And then another thing I had to do was take out the dipstick. So I just took it out because it was already loose, not that hard at all to do. The dipstick's right there. It's held in by a 12 millimeter bolt right here. But now that I have all that situated, I'm going to get back to taking off all these bolts. I mean, pretty much all of them are already loose. So I just need to take them off one by one and make sure I document where they go exactly, so I don't get confused when I put them back on. A few more things I missed. There's an Allen key bolt that goes right there actually that needs to come out, which is this guy. And then over here you got that 10 millimeter, and then you have another 10 millimeter right there that I didn't see before. So those need to come out as well to get that part off. All right, and just like that, this comes off. So take note that there is a gasket for it, which is going to be this guy that comes in your timing kit. So make sure you get that gasket. And there's also going to be another gasket right there, that guy, which I want to say is over here. Yeah, right there. So make sure you get the gaskets too, okay? And don't forget to remove the old gasket material. Alright guys, so we are under the car now. As you can see, all these bolts have been taken off that are holding in the timing cover onto the engine. So now we're under the car, and we're gonna be taking off a few bolts. We're gonna take off this guy, that guy, this one, that one, and this guy right there. So total like 8 bolts. We're gonna take those off. Those are 10 millimeters. And then after we have that, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this timing cover off and figure out a spot on where to pry it at. So alright guys, so turns out the oil filter housing that goes right here, which is that guy right there, that has to come off too. So that's going to be the 12 millimeter bolts right there, 4 of them. And then actually right behind it, there's a hidden bolt right there. So that's also a 12 millimeter bolt. So that also has to come out. And after that, this whole thing, or the whole front timing cover, should finally come out. Now this should come out just like that. All right. Get this out of the way, put this to the side somewhere. So as you can see, there are a few gaskets in here. There's an O-ring here, an O-ring here, a gasket here, another gasket right here. Make sure you replace all these gaskets, okay guys? I'll list all the gaskets that I had gotten today in the description below, just in case you guys want the same part number and everything, okay? Also, take note of where there used to be gasket maker, because you are gonna have to put a brand new gasket maker along the timing cover, okay? Including this area right here. It's very important, okay? So let's get back to it. All right, so here we are. This is the Genesis Coupe 3.8 timing chain assembly.